You are listening to Danny on What the Heck podcast. This is the place where I share my experience, knowledge, and skills. Welcome along. We've got Mike Armstrong all the way from England, and I think you're 13 hours behind us. Am I correct? Or is it 11 hours behind us?
11, I think. I don't know. I'm 11 o'clock at night tonight this time. What time are you on?
Let's see. At this time of night, we're 16 minutes past 11 a.m. on a Tuesday, and I presume you're on a Monday evening.
12 hours then.
Is it?
Yeah, 12 hours then.
It's that daylight saving things that seems to screw us all around. Alrighty,
Yeah,
so
it all changes it.
welcome. Thank you for coming along. We've known each other for around about 10 weeks now via Clubhouse, and way at the very start we said we were going to do a podcast exchange, and so this is what we're doing today. My format of my podcast for you who's listening is I've got 12 impromptu questions to ask Mike, and then along the way we'll find out who he is and what he's passionate about. So the first question that is totally random, even I don't know what it's going to be. What is the distinction between feeling good in business and not feeling good? What makes you feel good in business, Mike?
For me, it's being able to help and impact as many people as possible. That makes me feel good. And if I'm not helping and impacting people, especially large numbers of people, then I don't feel so good. So I love to help people. And, the more the merrier.
A few years ago, I added a connector into my boudoir of things I do. I think you'd label yourself as a connector. I don't know anyone actually who connects people more than you do listening to you on Clubhouse. True to say?
Yeah, I would say I'm a super connector. So I like to connect with other super connectors around the world so that we can form a super connection network, really. And, I think that then allows you to impact more people.
Funny enough, I was listening to your show one day. I'm sure it was yours. There was a lady who made scooter locks, and she used to live in New Zealand. That was our common interest, but she was on your Clubhouse, and she was looking for people to distribute her new scooter lock. And one of my mates owns a scooter shop here in New Zealand, and they've been now she is manufacturing a bigger version of her scooter lock for his type of scooters. And I thought that was so cool. So even though it's on the other side of the world, a lot of business, we can network quite well using Clubhouse. Question number 2, mate.
Yeah, definitely.
How do you think, now I don't know if you have people working with you or for you, but how do you think your co-workers see you?
So I am currently self-employed, but I used to be a corporate sales director. So I used to work with a big team of people, and I do work with an extended team of people now because, I have some contractors and network partners, lead referral partners, collaborators, that sort of thing. And I would say, my co-workers see me as somebody who is giving, somebody who is generous with his time, is giving, and also very knowledgeable, because I like to become the expert in everything that I do. And so I'm a lifelong learner, and, my mission is to become the best at all of the things I'm passionate about, the best in the world. And I think my co-workers would see me as somebody who is an expert, who is knowledgeable, and is also somebody willing to give, to others, without expectation in return.
Always just striving to be a better version of yourself is something I often say, but I think what you just said would be right in line with that. Right, here we go. Here's one.
Yeah,
something you have helped people with a lot is starting up companies. So if you were to start a company from scratch, what values would you build it on?
So again, I think sort of ties in with the same thing really, but my value is to give without expectation of anything in return. And I think if you can build a company on that value, I think that company will become valuable, because what happens is if you give without expectation of return, people value that and they appreciate that, and people want to return something back in favor for you, or they want to at least tell other people about it. And actually, if you can build a business and a brand and a reputation on being valuable, then you will become valued.
Yep, giving value. Okay, okay. When you were small, what did you want to be?
So I wanted to play for Wales and be a professional rugby player.
Now, I hear there's been a lot of soccer
But
going on at the moment because I feel a bit of
there's
chit
been
chat in the room. A lot of soccer, football, sorry. There's a lot of football. There's some game going on at the moment that people weren't wanting to listen to you because they didn't want to hear the results, or some team that you support are doing really well. Is it the Welsh team?
Yeah, the Welsh rugby team. We just won the Six Nations, and I would have loved to have been a captain for Wales, even a British Lion, and been a captain for them. I'm a leader, so I would have naturally been a captain if I was, gone into any of those teams, because I generally outwork other people and I outlearn other people. That's just something I've always done in whatever position I've been in, and so I would have naturally gone to that position. And that's what I really wanted to be when I was a young child. And then probably from about 11 onwards, when I started my entrepreneurial journey, I was inspired by Richard Branson, and I always wanted to be my own boss. So I wanted to be an MD of a company, or an MD of my own company, preferably. So yeah, I've always had lofty, ambitious ambitions, and yeah,
What about
since a
the
child.
All Blacks? How do you like those guys?
Well, I really respect the All Blacks because I love winning, and I love a winning mentality, and I
Yeah.
love a winning culture. And the All Blacks annoy me a lot as a Welsh rugby fan because we can't beat them, and we can beat most other teams, but we just can't beat the All Blacks. So they really annoy the backside off me. They're a frustrating team, but I really respect them for their winning mentality, attitude, and culture.
Good stuff, mate. There you go. The sports question. Um, all right. I don't know anything about your family at all. But this question, remember, I didn't make these questions. I actually had a group of people help me pick them out. But it says, what's your favourite family tradition?
Um, Well, it's one I miss most now is having a Sunday lunch on a Sunday. My mum's moved to Turkey,
Yeah.
but before she went to Turkey, I used to have a Sunday lunch over her house most Sundays, and before that, over my nan's houses. And I'm a big fan of a Sunday lunch. And now my mum's in Turkey, and I've got no nans with me anymore. I definitely miss the Sunday lunch.
Yeah.
I'm such a big fan of them, but I don't cook them myself. I'd rather, when I cook, I like to cook in a wok rather than loads of other pans and ovens and all that sort of stuff. It's a load of hassle for me. I'm into efficiency, so I don't tend to cook myself Sunday dinners, but I do love to eat them.
What was your last meal you had? What'd you eat?
Um, the last meal I had was I made myself like a stir fry. Well, it was chicken, onions, and vegetables with noodles, and I put on the what's the stuff, the spices that you make fajitas out of. And so I made myself like a fajita noodle stir fry.
Oh, well done. I know when I was cooking for myself, I used to find myself eating out 2 or 3 times a week, a day actually, and it's so hard when you're at home to get motivated and get your ass off the computer seat and go cook yourself a meal. But with lockdown, we've all learned more about cooking at home, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I love a bag of chips on a Friday night bag of chips, fish and chips.
Yep.
And then, yeah, most of the time, I actually quite like cooking, but only if it's in a wok.
Right. Here's a good question for you. Have you watched Back to the Future? Remember that movie?
I have, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you could go back in time, what year would you like to travel to?
Um, I think it would be around between 97 and 99, somewhere around there, maybe 99. 99 was an amazing year, yeah. I'll tell you why 99 was a good year, is I was 22.
Yeah.
I had a great time from sort of 16 to 25. That sort of time. I was partying all the time and all of that. But 99, I remember, was a really good year because the Rugby World Cup was in Wales as well, and it was just. It was a really great time to be a fan and just enjoy the music of the 90s and going out all of the time and the rugby and just loads of things, which made it a great year. And obviously looking forward to the millennium
Yeah, that's right.
and the millennium celebrations and all of that. So I'd say 99 was was a good year.
I was actually in Wales around '99. I think the turn of this when we went into 2000. I travelled 25 countries in 4.5 months. So it was from 1999 to 2000 when I got back. But I did go to Wales actually. So that's where you are, isn't it? Have I got that right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, Wales. We did say England earlier on, but I don't mind. I understand that you Aussies get these things wrong now and then.
So do you. I'm a Kiwi. That's good. Good
Might be
try,
a little
Mike.
bit of a payback in that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. Okay. What form of public transport do you prefer? We've got choices here. You can add another one if you like. We've got air, that's a plane. Boat, that's the thing that floats on the water. Train that goes on rails. Bus or car. What? If you had to get on public transport, what do you like doing?
So I love the sea. I'm a water baby. I love anything to do with water. I love houses that look over the water. I love looking into the ocean and into rivers and lakes and that sort of thing. And I love boats. So that's not a tough one for me. Although I've never used a boat as public transport, except maybe once or twice when I've been in Greece and I've used them as water taxis up the coastline.
Yep.
But other than that, I've not really used them as public transport. I quite like the train as a public transport method because you can crack on with your work, get your laptop out, and you got all your plugs and your charges and all of that, and
Yep.
you can work on them and do your social media. So as a public transport mode, I like the train.
Yep.
But anything to do with boats beats trains hands down because I just love the water.
I lived in a place called Picton in the South Island, and I had a apartment that overlooked the sea. But right in front of me, there was this fishing boat, and it was I think $85 for the day, and you could go out fishing. It would be 6 hours. But so I got mobile internet, and I'd work for 2 hours, fish for an hour and a half ish, and then come back and work for 2 hours. And I did it so often. It was just so cool to be able to actually do it. Yeah. So yeah, you'd probably enjoy that. I'm a vegan now, so I haven't caught many fish lately. Well, plant-based eater, as they say.
I've got a lot of some of the best experiences in my life around a boat. Like, what I mean, I've been sailing in the British Virgin Islands. When I went to Ibiza, I used to do a lot of boat parties. When I
Okay.
was home, around that sort of 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, that sort of age, I used to go on a boat party called Aqua Boogie, which used to be in Penarth in South Wales. I got lots of great memories of boats. I went to Cuba and went on a catamaran. Um, I love boats and I love the water. So
Yeah, good stuff.
good memories.
All right, let's get through the question. We're not nearly done. I think we're nearly halfway. Is your glass half full or half empty? Your glass, half full or half empty?
So I'm Welsh and I'm an optimist and a positive person. My glass is always full and it's always overflowing into more glasses and more buckets. So it's not half full or half empty. Don't give me a half full glass. I want a full one.
Yep.
I want it to be so full that it's pouring out. So I have to keep drinking it, and just keep flowing. Yeah, that's my glass. It's overflowing.
You've answered that question the best that anyone ever has. How about that? Okay, food. Back to food. What is the most unusual thing that you have eaten?
Ooh,
It'd be black
I would
puddings, wouldn't it?
say probably something like a oyster or cockles or something like that. Because those things, if you look at them, you just think, well, why would you eat them?
Did you eat them raw?
I think I tried an oyster and I was like, oh, they're horrible. I said, why would you?
Did you eat it
You know
raw?
what I mean? Also, raw fish as well, raw fish sushi.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a fan. I like my fish cooked. I like the vegetable sushi.
Yeah.
I like the vegetable sushi, but I'm just like,
How do you get vegetable sushi?
Yeah, you can have like the rice and the vegetarian type sushi.
Oh, yeah, I know what
like,
you're saying. Yeah, no, I was thinking fish, vegetable.
Yeah, like the stuff that you have like as an alternative to fish. I like all that sort of stuff. But there's a few things I've had unusual. Octopus, I think I've had, and the stuff on the sea I'm not a big fan of. I like cod and monkfish.
Have you ever heard?
I like and Judas steaks. I like meaty fish.
Have you ever heard of kenna or sea eggs?
No.
Oh, my brother used to be a diver, and he used to go out and get these sea eggs. They're like a hedgehog, and you break them open, and it's like the pus out of an elephant eye, and they eat them raw, and it's just gross as. And I can't even figure out, like, these sea eggs are massive, and then you just get this sliver of slush. And I still remember seeing my brother eating them, going, "Oh, that's good." I think it was more of a personal challenge than a delicacy, but yeah, weird. The other one too we get here, I don't know if you have them, is power, and everyone who I've never been into power, but everyone that wants you to eat them tells you what the recipe is, and by the time you finish putting all the ingredients in, I bet you can't even taste whatever it is in it, let alone the power, because it tastes like eating
Yeah,
jandals.
that's like when they say sprouts are great, and then you say, "Oh, how do you cook them?" And they're like, "Oh, I put a bit of bacon in there, put a bit of..." And I'm like, "Well, you don't even taste the sprouts; you're just
Yeah,
hiding the flavour."
that's it. Crazy. What more are you wanting out of your business right now? If somebody said to you, money isn't a
Um,
problem, time isn't a problem, what more would you want?
Well, my mission, laser focused mission right now, is to be speaking on stages around the world, big stages globally. So that's what I want more out of my business right now. Because at the moment, I'm at the speaking for free stage and doing free events and that sort of stuff, which is great. But I want more higher profile, paid for gigs on big stages around the world because I want to impact more people, and that's obviously one way of doing so. Plus, also, I wouldn't mind earning some bigger bucks than I do now because I'd like to put all of that money into like a trust fund or a startup fund and help startup businesses. So
Yep.
I help them already with knowledge, information, advice, inspiration, and support and connections. And I'd like to be able to give them some cash as well if they need it, if I think it's right
Angel
for them,
invest.
because a lot of the time they don't need cash because they just waste it, but sometimes you do need it for certain IT developments or stock purchases or whatever,
Yeah, like angel investor sort of style.
I'd like to be a proper angel where I just give them the money, or give them a interest free loan for as long as they need it, that sort of thing, rather than what I see angel investors are, which is basically just investors.
Don't you have any wings?
What's that?
Do you have any wings? I can't see you. Would you dress up with a couple of
No.
wings as an angel?
I haven't got any wings, no, but
Yeah.
but most angel investors are really in it to make money, whereas I'd be in it to actually help them as a
Mm.
different purpose.
I think when you start your own business and it's not your money, I think the approach is different as well. So I think there would be one difficult thing is trying to find people that would treat your money like it's their money, because they give it a go sometimes, some of these people, don't they, with other people's monies. But I've always
Yeah,
slowly built things I've done and made sure it's feasible. And, I like,
yeah, and
you
that's
talked
why
about,
I wouldn't give the money just willy nilly. They'd have to pitch it. It'd have to be an integral part of the business that they couldn't do without.
yep,
It'd have to be that, and it'd have to be you know some way which would get them to value it. You know what I mean? So there'd have to be some sort of built-in something which would, mechanism that would get them to appreciate and value it. But
mm,
yeah, a lot of the time, business people, they don't need the money. That's why I'm a philanthropic entrepreneur now, just by giving the help and the support and the advice. Because it's like the old proverb, if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime.
yeah, I
I'd
love that
rather
saying.
teach the people to fish, because you
Yep.
give them the fish cash and they'll just eat it and then it'll be gone again, and then they still can't produce no more fish.
Yeah, I always struggle with being entrepreneurial. I personally believe that it's something you can't teach very easily, somebody to be entrepreneurial, because I don't actually really understand what it is. And I mean, is that striving after making something happen is what entrepreneurial people do. And I call myself a serial entrepreneur because I'm always starting up new ideas, looking for opportunities. And I think you're very much the same.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I think an entrepreneur is a problem solver, somebody who sees an opportunity, fills it, yeah, and then takes massive action in order to fill it. So doesn't just see it and then wants it solved, but he actually create an organization, a structure for people around him to actually fulfill that opportunity. So that's what I would see an entrepreneur is, but also a risk taker. So an entrepreneur is somebody who will take risks, but calculated risks
Yeah.
based on his knowledge, experience, and expertise.
That's the word that you just said,
His or her.
calculated risk is what it's all about. And I think people think that entrepreneurial people don't calculate the risks. And Richard Branson, which you mentioned earlier on, he's brilliant because he would always put 50% of his current business into his next idea, and then he wouldn't be putting everything on the line, but he'd put a big stake in it, and that was how he's now got over 500 companies, obviously. So he knows what he's doing when it comes to that, and then he doesn't fall over. You see. All right, I've got two more questions. You said you like boats. You're in a boat, and it's smashed up against the rocks, and you have to swim ashore, and you're on a desert island. What's three things you would take or wish you had with you if you were stuck on a desert island?
One would be my phone. Yeah,
how are you going to charge it?
I did have Wi-Fi. I can't live without my phone. My phone is like my office. It's like an extension of my hand. It's almost constantly in my hand.
Okay.
So I couldn't live without that.
How are you going to charge it, Mike?
So my phone. What's that?
How are you going to charge it?
Well, hopefully there would be a charging point and a plug there.
Excellent. Yeah, all right.
But I could actually wish for the charging point and the plug, and then use all my three up. But I might as well give you something a bit more interesting than that.
Yeah.
So the phone, and then I would say, what else would I want there? Probably. Running on the same electricity as the phone charger, a bar full of cider, and a sun lounger.
Jesus. Okay, so it sounds like you're having a holiday.
Pretty much, you give me my phone, a sun lounger, and a bar full of cider, and I'll be happy. I'll stay in that island for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's good. It's just the boats would come along. Oh, we found you, and you go, no, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Still cider left in the fridge. Come back round.
You chop the fridge up. We'll get off my island. All right, last question. If you ruled the world, so you're ruling the world now, and what would you change on day one?
I think what I would change on day one is to get rid of all of the country leaders and to form a United Nations government.
Called Armstrong?
One person running the world. A collaboration of the whole world, because that's the way the whole world's going, and I just don't know why they don't stop messing about and just do it. Let's just all collaborate together as one nation, one world.
We'll call it Clubhouse, shall we?
The human race. Yeah.
One thing I've noticed...
No, I think...
Sorry?
I think it's a wasted opportunity to not collaborate together, because the whole world is globalizing, it's all fitting together, but we're still operating as individual silos. We're trying to run countries when the world is global. Countries don't really do the job anymore. Now we need to work together.
No, we do. I solely believe that's true. And I think one thing I've done with, because I've met you on Clubhouse, and I've coined a phrase, and Clubhouse equals the world needed to talk. And one thing I have noticed is that people on Clubhouse aren't racial, or they don't seem to judge anybody. I mean, we'll get all different types of people coming along, and seems to be none of that, where we prejudge people when we meet them, or it's just, I think it's a beautiful thing, really. So tell us.
The reason for that is because the invite-only system, people have only invited their best people, generally. There's a couple of trolls coming now and then, but people are inviting their best contacts and relationships. They're not inviting people who are going to let them down, because of also you can get blocked if you bring someone in who's like a troublemaker or whatever, so it's like naturally policed itself to put the influences of the world there. And most of the influence of the world, most of the connectors and stuff, people, they're cosmopolitan. They used to mix it with different people of different races and different ethnicities and stuff. The people who are racist and sexist and homophobic and all of the prejudices, these people are usually small-minded people with small experiences, and they don't have a lot of life experience to take them out of that small-mindedness. And that's the difference, So that's why we need to encourage people to go outside of their comfort zone, get outside of their little village and their little, town and whatever, and experience the world. Because what they realize is that all people are valuable, all people have something to contribute, and there's no reason to have hatred towards other people just because you don't know them.
I agree. Where do you think the future of Clubhouse is going?
Well, I think hopefully Clubhouse is going to stay roughly where it's at. It's probably going to double or triple at least because of the Android side of things. But I'm hoping that Twitter and Facebook and everything produce rival products so that the mass market people who haven't been invited into Clubhouse don't end up in there. You know, the ones who weren't invited in don't end up gravitating towards it when it opens up, because they end up gravitating towards the Twitter and Facebook versions, because it sounds a little bit elitist, and it probably is a little bit elitist. I quite like the influencers that are in Clubhouse at the moment not being interrupted by all the plebs of the world, to be honest with you, because I quite like educating people and helping people, and I'd love another platform. I'd go into Twitter and Facebook and whatever and try and educate the people as well. I wouldn't just not get involved in them, but I think Clubhouse on its own, as a standalone feature right now with a lot of the influence of the world in, is a great place, and I'd love it to stay like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I'm a bit of a snob with Apple products. My dog is actually called Apple iDog. And the fact that I think only Apple users can actually get on there at the moment, I think is a wee bit. It costs you $2,000 for a good iPhone. I think people don't afford to purchase those bits of hardware, versus a $200 or $300 Android phone. I mean, that might sound really snobby, but I just think we've got a good class of people on there at the moment. And I think that will give it, it's like anything you start in business, even entrepreneurial people, they start small and grow big. And I think the foundation that Clubhouse has built, even if it does open up to the world, and I think we're at the moment, we're around about 12 million people that are on it. If we get up to 200 million people, I think the foundations and what the developer is trying to accomplish is actually probably right. It hopefully can stay the same and just grow organically, which is perfect. That's what good businesses are grown on. Yeah,
well, I think luckily the reason I joined Clubhouse and put so much time into it so quickly.
Tell us how much time. Tell us how much time you've put on Clubhouse. Tell us how much time you've put into Clubhouse.
I've been on there. I've been on there 11 weeks,
Woo!
And I was using it mostly 20 hours a day for the first 3 weeks. And then I've probably been using it for between 17 and 18 hours a day for the remaining 9 weeks. But I run a 24/7 room called Screw the Big Rooms on Clubhouse.
Yep.
And so generally I'm always on Clubhouse. Even when I'm sleeping, I go to sleep to it on, and I wake up to it on. So I'm literally always on Clubhouse. But I'm creating my community because I see this as a brand new platform to go on and make a community. And the good thing is like you said, even if it gets full of other people, I've already carved out my room now, and people already keep coming back and forth. So hopefully my community would stay, fairly small, but it's growing. It would just stay small, but grow organically, just so that there's fresh people coming in and nice people coming in. But just keep the riffraff out, and that's good. Moderating can do that anyway over time, just by making sure that everyone conducts themselves well, or you ban them from the room.
Yeah, that's good, mate. Hey, it's been nice to have you on. I'm actually, we're going to call it, we've done enough talk, and I think if you want to find Mike Armstrong on Clubhouse, just go in there and search for his rooms. He's got a club as well called Screw the Big Rooms, and the concept behind Mike's room is different than other rooms. For example, if you go, when you first get in Clubhouse, you find these rooms with thousands of people in them, and you go into these rooms and you're just a listener. The real point of difference with Mike's room is the fact that you can go into his room. Often Mike will make you a moderator, so no one's got the hierarchy, and then you can talk with other people, and it's just such a good way of running a room. And I spend 95% of my time in these smaller rooms having conversations with people. And if you don't know anything about Clubhouse and you're new, get yourself into Mike's room or any other small room, click that hand, put yourself up, put you on the stage, and start interacting with people. And if you're thinking about podcasting, Clubhouse is certainly a great platform to practice your speaking skills. And I've improved, and I know you've improved, Mike, so it's just a real good thing. So thank you for coming along, and I really enjoyed having you on the show, and I'll let you know when this comes out.